we keep coming back down to that human factor, right? Which is the importance of now really navigating the world of people more than ever, and putting them, and people, have been in a consistent flux or change. The change hasn't stopped, even in coming back into some quotations of getting back into the office and call it routine, normality. It's still going to be completely different, right? So what do you think people can do for themselves to maybe develop or create the resilience to stay the course with the next round of change we have to go through?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, big part of this, I think, is self-reflection. I mean, the truth is, everybody, regardless of your role in an organization, just as human beings, as you say, we've all experienced this together, right?
Mhm.
The entire world, the global community experienced this together. Granted, at different levels, different intensities, people had it much worse than other people, but everybody was touched by this. There's no doubt about it. And so I think there's actually a lot of positives that came out of it. A lot of people I've spoken to have done some self reflection, and they've realized that they have other passions, that when they were working remotely, then they used their downtime, meaning their non commuting time, to do things they've always wanted to do, now that they're at their house or somewhere else, like beautiful Costa Rica, where you are. So there are some upsides. And I think that there's no doubt people have had some balance restored to their lives. But
Right.
to your point, I think the resilience is the key. I think that is going to be the catchphrase more than ever before in this upcoming year is resilience, and the ability to manage new situations, which this will be, again, especially for leaders. When you've got people all over and in different scenarios, you're still going to be having to deliver the same results that you've always delivered. And maybe for some organizations, you're going to have to recover some of those results that you were unable to deliver because of the pandemic. So resilience will be the difference maker for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think we have a generation of resilient, let's be a little um stereotypical, the younger generation, the younger talents? Do you think they're a generation that is coming from a world that's allowed them to become more resilient, or do you think we're that's going to be an issue for us, and including some people that have been going through this, the last year? You think you think people are, very directly, do you think we have enough people that are resilient enough to actually come back and kick ass, or do you think we're going to be having problems with that as well?
I don't know. That's the truth. I think that's a big question mark for me. And I think that's part of this experiment. I think there's no doubt that resilience has grown for sure as people have been forced to adapt to a new environment, working or personal. Do we have enough? I mean, it's a great question, and it's one that I don't have the answer to, and I'm not sure can be answered at this time. I think once things, quote, get back to the regular, we'll have to see, because as you say, there's a lot of different factors and a lot of complexities to this. You talked about the digital adoption. Well, that's not going to go away even when we have people back in the office. So, my boss, my president, talks about the fact that he's done a bunch of deals over Zoom that would normally have taken 5, 10 trips flying over to Asia. And he realizes, actually, we don't need to do that. I don't need to lose 3, 4 days of productivity just in the travel for something that's super productive, like signing a deal. I can do it now over Zoom. At the same time, we go full circle back to what we've been talking about, which is the human connection. And that's part of feeding resilience, supporting people, helping the people that aren't as resilient. And for me, I don't know the answer of whether or not we have enough resilient people. The last thing I'll say on that is, look, some people will argue that younger people are more resilient. They kind of take it as it comes. They let things, slide off their back. They don't sweat it.
I think some of us
Uh,
used to be.
Pardon?
I think some of us younger folks used to be.
Like
We,
some of us younger folks used to be, exactly.
but we've all grown up. So
Exactly. And some of the older folks who won't be named here,
no, I mean,
uh,
we once upon a time we were younger
we
and we
were.
are resilient, right? And
Yes.
the joke around that is, we've all grown up now and we still are resilient, but we're still dealing with the generation of youngers who might not be as resilient.
But you got to also remember, some people were never resilient to begin with.
That's true.
Pandemic or no pandemic, young or old, some people are just not resilient. I'm sure you know people in your community, professional and personal. I know
Yeah.
people in my community, professional. They're not resilient people. So this is just another example of where they had to be resilient and weren't. And so, are we going to have enough of them? I hope so. And I think probably, but it's going to be an adjustment. And I think that's the part where, people keep talking about everything will be fine when it gets back to normal. Well, it will be fine, but let's not fool ourselves. This isn't a cakewalk. You can't just walk in and assume that everything's going to be the same. It's not going to be the same.